Next we have here is the Amel. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amel. I'm from Algeria, North Africa, and I work with GlobalOne 2015. And I'm the one who could coordinate and connect with grassroots women who are leading in their local communities. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next one we have here is Asria.
Hi everyone, my name is Asria Mohamed. I'm from Western Sahara. I'm born and raised in the Sahrawi refugee camps. So I'm here also on behalf of the Sahrawi Union Women.
Thank you. And also we have two online. One is Fatma. Fatma, can you hear us here? I didn't really see Fatma here. While we are looking for her, that can maybe Safaa respond to us here in Bonn? Okay, so you can try to turn on your microphone. Or maybe also turn on the your camera that we can see you. So I can see Fatma is online. Fatma, do you like to talk to us first?
You should turn on your microphone.
Fatma, can you turn on your microphone? Yeah, we can see you, but please unmute. Are we able to unmute her from here?
No. She has to.
Can you hear us?
I think she can hear us, but can you try to unmute your microphone?
Sometimes the connection is not that good, so.
Okay, so while we are still finding a way to connect to Safaa and Fatma, that I would like to start first of the topic today. Today we are talking about building MENA climate resilience through engaging women of faith in food system transformation. And we all know the COVID-19 crisis has created a backslide in progress fighting hunger and malnutrition. With a collapsing global economy and worsening impacts from climate change, nearly 20% of people in the MENA region are food insecure. This is worse in countries mired in conflict like Yemen or Syria. Simultaneously, obesity, heart disease, and diabetes are on the rise in MENA countries due to an increased diet of processed food heavy in sugars, preservatives, animal proteins that are directly and negatively impacting ecosystems across the world. So now I would like to start from Dr. Tirado. Can you maybe give us a brief big pictures about this MENA region? What kind of the climate challenge you have facing too?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I forgot when I introduced myself, I forgot to mention that I have been lead. Oh, now talking?
Hello, Fatma. Thank you to come back. We are happy you are visiting us. Yeah. So I will key you later on. So please stay with us. Thank you. So Dr. Tirado, we can continue. Thank you.
Hi. So I was mentioning that I have been lead author also of the chapter. There is in the IPCC there are chapters, and they are like regions and cross-cutting chapters. And one of the reasons why I am here, besides that feeling Mediterranean, right? So is that I have been lead author of that of the chapter of the Mediterranean, and I was covering the issues related to food and Mediterranean diet. So yeah, thank you for the introduction. I mean, the data basically are there. What is a pity is that the area of Maghreb and Egypt and even Djibouti, the number of people that were food secure for many years has been stable for many years up to the pandemic. And after the pandemic, everything has been going up. And right now, I mean, we have 16 million people on extreme poverty, and this is going to be a challenge. We have in that region, in that area, three main challenges that in relation to food systems and diets. The first one is climate change. As I mentioned, if you are interested in data on impacts on production of climate change, it is excellent. Because, not because of me, but because many people put data from working group 1, working group 2 and 3, and they have merged, and you can have an idea of all the scenarios, all the temperatures, and the time frames. So, and when you see the data, and you see very important components for the Mediterranean diet, you say, okay, I mean, it's like what we are going to eat, right? So in Spain or in Portugal or in Morocco, there are decreases up to 20% of the production of olive oil. Olive oil is produced with no rainwater, right? So that's, those are the cultivars in the Mediterranean. They are resilient by themselves. You don't water them, even the wine. I mean, if you water the wine, probably will be better quality, but it's same thing with almonds. We don't irrigate these cultivars, and they are critical for the Mediterranean diet. So the first impact that we are saying is that if half of the population in MENA, they are already living in conditions with water stress, with the population expected to grow to 700 million in 2050, then the per capita water available will be just half, and that will be extremely challenging. And on top, we have seen that the locust outbreaks have covered 23 countries, including Yemen and Djibouti. So this is affecting, and it could be recurrent. So the second challenge that we have identified in the region, in our region, is that the population growth rate itself is going up, and is the highest worldwide. So the growth in urban areas, looking at a percentage of more than 66% of people are expected to be living in cities in 2030. So the agriculture productivity rates are not keeping with the population increase, except with in Egypt, sorry, where the productivity gains are above the world average. And then looking into the diet, the third challenge is diet and nutrition, but this is not new. 10 years ago, already some of the MENA cities had the highest obesity rates, not only in the region but in the world. The problem is that right now there is a total dependence of food imports, for example, wheat or other staple grains, and if half of the MENA food is imported, but this is going up to a 90% in Gulf cooperation countries, which is, I mean, you are not producing anything in your country, and it's a huge risk. So it's a huge risk because if you don't produce that food, you are going to get that food from somewhere. And I don't know if you have seen these maps from El País on land grabbing of Africa, and it was very concerning to see all the areas that are producing food for other countries, not for the actual country. So right now, 1/3 of the calories that people are consuming are wheat products that are subsidized by governments, and between 1/4 and 1/3 of the region's adult population are obese. So this food system is failing to support people's health. And the food provides calories but not nutrition, and the people are, they have the, in these cities and in the countries, they have the double burden of malnutrition, both stunting and obesity. And one we will ask ourselves, where was that wonderful Mediterranean diet that all of us we share, and that is the base of maintaining the Mediterranean ecosystems through so many years, I mean, from ancestral times. And in fact, the Mediterranean diet is a cultural heritage. It has been named by UNESCO as a cultural heritage. So we are starting to lose, I mean, when I told you about the production of tomatoes, the production of olive oil, and almonds, and all these products that are super healthy, and that have the oils, and they don't need rain. So I will leave it there. I will leave it there, and thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tirado. So the next one, I would like to invite Amel, that she will explain the area around Egypt, right?
Hi. I'm today going to talk about the women I connected with, and I tried to make this regional group of dialogue between them and sharing how they live those challenges in the MENA region, and that extends from North Africa to the Middle East. The issues and the challenges are different in terms of gender related, and mainly is in relation to the climate change, and mainly around domestic violence, displacement and forced displacement, and patriarchy in the societies. It sounds like this is climate change is not related, but it is actually in the root and the main problem. That is because when we talk, for instance, about water shortage, women are the main, and because of the societies and where they live, the first one responsible for food security and providing food and the well-being of the whole family, even the extended family. The heat, the extreme heat in North Africa, especially in the desert, the biggest area of desert, is extreme, up to 50 degrees, which is unbelievable, but it's real. So it restricts their movement and their access to resources. And work at home. Some of the women, they work artisanal work, so they provide for their families. Also in occupation areas, in places where there is war or post-war, for instance, Libya or Yemen or Egypt, Palestine or Western Sahara, they are displaced from their homes. They live in camps. The tents are extremely hot. The environment is not fit for a human being to live and provide food and look after their children. So these affect them. The heat, they cannot go out because it's extreme. The climate is changing, so there is a risk of skin cancer. There is a risk of appearance, how they look in their culture, in their community. In some community, women, if they look less white, they're not entitled, they're not at that level of getting married. And all this intersectional and this playing together is a reality. And I'm here today, and I'm so happy to be here today to say that these grassroots women, that's what they are saying. They don't know the concept of climate change. COP, it doesn't exist. It's sad, but it doesn't exist in their everyday life. But they are doing the thing that we are talking about now, is providing and going to the resources and touching the main problem in those resources, that they don't have it. There is no resources there. In Syria, for instance, on top of my head, the organization I spoke to, women are prostituting to get not even a bread, just to make the day. And that's because of the camp, the landowner of the camp, they ask them for that to get access. So not even getting to the climate or anything, is just to get the food. And even the dam who used to be near that camp in North Syria, it dried out because of the climate change. They used to go there and have picnic with their kids to eat, just not as picnic European or us without war, but just to sit down. There is nothing. There's nothing, and they are selling their bodies to get food security. This is food security. And this is bad, and these women, they want you to listen to them and go to them and ask them to get the result and to get what we want from COP. So I would like to tell you that the grassroots women are facing lots of challenges related to climate change, related to overheating, but as well as suffering as a consequence of the climate change from other issues, that they are there related to gender inequality and society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amel. We really need to look into that problem. Yes. And now we would like to invite the Asria to talk about what your home time like.
Hi, everyone. Speaking of faith, I was just sitting, and all of a sudden, I thought about my mom, who is right now in refugee camps. And, you know, I'm the generation that was born and grew up in refugee camps. I got education, and you can call me like the spoiled refugee. And often I would complain to my mom, and like, it's so harsh, it's so hot, what type of life is this? And my mom always say, we have Allah, it's gonna be fixed. So like, their faith is the reason that we have survived in seriously abnormal, difficult, in hospital conditions. So the Sahrawis, I know that you are not familiar with the issue, so I'm just going to make it very, very short. But the Sahrawi people, we live in different places. You have the refugee camps where I was born and grew up. You have people in the liberated territories of Western Sahara, and then you have the other half on the occupied territories. And different groups, they suffer from different issues related to climate change. But let me start with the camps. So the refugee camps are located in the desert, and I don't need to explain to you the temperature in the desert. So when it's come to the issue of food security, it's becoming harder and harder to grow food. I mean, not only that it's almost impossible, but also you have the issue of water. So first is the high temperature and the stress with water, and second, which is funny or ironic, because it's contradicting the other one. You see high temperature, and the extreme are getting extreme, right? So on the other side, the refugee camps are subjected to flooding, devastating flooding, which leads to disasters. So periodic flooding, it leads to destroy of home, of schools, health infrastructure, and of course this also leads to death or injury. It leads also to physical pain, but also mental pain and food insecurity. There is a third thing that I think maybe when I listen Mediterranean, and I'm thinking about our specific how we are maybe different as the Sahrawis, and that's we are nomadic people, and we have a nomadic culture. So the food insecurity is worsened by the climate change when it comes to us. Our traditional way of living as a nomadic pastoralist, I mean, we do herds for camels and goat, is really affected by the climate change. And we cannot, our mobilization is limited. This also leads to, and I come back to my mom, because she grew up with so many healthy diets, and Amel, you mentioned this with the skin color and product. Before, now we see, okay, we'll come to it later, when it comes to color, but we are, as my generation, we are losing that touch with it. Coming back to the nomadic life, which means that we cannot rely on food security coming from livestock, for example, or wild planets as our generation. I think maybe I spoke just last minutes, if that's okay. Yeah, and the last one, as I said, is nomadic. And the worst thing that can happen to us because of the issue on occupation, but also because of climate change, that we have forced sedentarization, like from moving to, we have to stay in the same place, and that's again affecting the food security. This was my cup of tea.
Thank you, Asria. And next, we would like to welcome Fatma online. Fatma, can you talk with us? How about your home time?
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Hope that you are fine. I am Fatma Shaat. I am a refugee Palestinian activist woman. I live in the south of this, and I wish to attend today to the conference in person, but the complex procedures stopped me from attending in Bonn, and I think that if we work in a proper way or in effectively, human procedures will gather us much easier us from watching or gathering each other in a proper way. So it gathers us. I'm just here to introduce myself, and later on, according to agenda, I want to talk about the challenges, obstacles that face women, and we put the solutions in order to have in a participatory approach. How can we think how to help us as a human, and women is a prominent part of this universe. And thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Fatma.
Yeah, she lives in Gaza.
Yeah, and next that we would like to invite
Safaa.
Safaa, and it's not easy, but I tried. We have her on Skype, yeah, but I really hope that she can also share her voice from her hometown. Safaa, can you hear us? Hello. It's kind of not that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's very. It's not loud enough.
You wanted to have the phone.
I think I may need to still need a little time to find out how can we enlarge her voice here. Can you talk again, Safaa?
Hello? Hello? Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes, we can hear you. So tell us where you are now and the situation in your hometown that are affected by the climate change.
Yes, concerning Egypt, first of all, Egypt is one of the most vulnerable countries affected by the climate change. Although it is one of the world's lowest contributor to global greenhouse gas emission. Actually, there is several studies have proved that the climate in Egypt has significantly changed over the past years. There is certain key risk factors to which Egypt is exposed. I can summarize it as the following. The Mediterranean sea level is in the Egyptian coastal zone are rising due to temperature rising, up to which leads to groundwater pollution, salinization of soil, deterioration of crop quality, and loss of productivity, and also deterioration of agricultural production and its impact on food security, and increasing desertification rates and increased water scarcity. Also, the climate change has a significant impact on Egypt's biodiversity. And with regard to the context of population growth in Egypt, we can see that climate change has a significant impact on the food security issue in the Egyptian society, and this mainly targeting women and children.
Okay, thank you, Safaa. As you are online, can we maybe just go straight to the next question? That we have listened to a lot of problems in the MENA region, but what can we do? How can you engage locally women in faith to do something to combat climate change?
Yes, for us, we are. I'm working right now with an organization that focus on empowering women through art and creative tools. Actually, we have we are up to launch an initiative to raise the awareness of the children and very young people and boys and girls about the climate change. We call it the Climate Champion, and it will work through certain activity. The activity is including organizing handicraft, drawing workshop, storytelling, shadow theater to raise the awareness of the children towards the issue of the climate change and food security and resource conservation. We are seeking to carry out a workshop at Torraha premises also for teachers, NGO, community leaders, and other interested parties to cooperate in creating a green network and promote the outreaching of the Climate Champion initiative. And we are also up to issuing a podcast directed to children to raise awareness of the climate change and its impact on food security, and using artistic inputs to raise the awareness of the participated children about the ecological system and how we can maintain it as possible, and the impact of the single-use plastic waste.
Okay, thank you so much. That it's very adorable that what you are working over there. So next, can we come back to Fatma? Fatma, are you still online with us?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah. So
yes, May. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so can you share with us how can we do and what you are working over there in Palestinian area?
To talk about the situation in the Palestinian area.
Yeah, that how you work over there to engage in women in faith to work on.
Okay. In general, if you wanted to talk about humanity in Palestine, in Algeria, whatever, humanity is love. And if you wanted to empower women and to keep food security and positive norms of biodiversity, we have to engage the most prominent players to be on the ground. For example, we may all the time make need assessment with women who suffering from changing in the climate change. And I wanted to stress about that climate change and the contradictions and the consequences of the climate change in Palestine, very similar to the situation of women when she going to work, however that the community not adapted of her work. So all roles for women to secure food, to provide the financial issues, to support her family, is still at the same situation. And however, all the different issues or the different or difficult, complex procedures happens according or resulted from the climate change, especially in the access restricted areas on the border areas in Palestine. What I mean of the border areas, it's near to the port or the buffer zone with the occupation, exactly.
Okay.
And did you
Keep
hear
going.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So if you get to talk about in Palestine, about a specific area, a specific protracted crisis coming to Gaza, to Palestine, there is occupation, there is a siege on Gaza. So limited resources and a high level of opportunity for women to work without engaging to support her in work cause difficult and negative consequences to her. So the situation here in Gaza is very difficult, and the unemployment level and percentage for women increase, and the same for men. And they are like competing each other about gaining the chance to work. I know that diversity makes unity, but I think that equal diversity makes unity. Not insufficient resources could make unity and could make like stable in this earth. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Fatma. So next, we would like to invite Asria to share with us that what she is working on.
Hi again. I feel I'm annoying. I'm like, hi, every time I'm going to speak. So what we are doing done in the Sahrawi, I'm focusing on the camps and the grassroots. I think one way there is this project which is like the family garden, and which is not for all the families, unfortunately, but it's a good step in the positive step in the right direction. So basically, the importance of this family garden is not only that these women will produce their own food, healthy food, that they have self-sufficient when it comes to food, but it's also maybe it helps to better the climate in the camps. When I am trying to just think about women in faith and the importance of producing your own food and having food security in a place where you actually 100% dependent on humanitarian aid, I'm just thinking about, as I said, the food production, that most of this aid is actually basically very, very basic food. So there is a lot of malnutrition among women, and all of us, we know that that leads, especially for pregnant women, to more health consequences. What I like also about this family garden, that it's give dignity, and that's when we see in our faith and Islam in all cultures, its dignity is very important. There is nothing really dignified of sitting and receiving food or humanitarian aid from others. And then I like the point when it comes to solidarity. And I have to say thank you for the foundation for organizing this, because solidarity is so important generally, but it's so important to tackle the climate challenges, and especially from the MENA region, where we basically are not really well coordinated. And there is one other example in the camps, which is really impressive. It's in desert, the use of hydroponic technique to grow grass. Yeah, and which is very important, as I mentioned before, for the livestock and for the animal. There is also the bioponic and aquaponic. I feel I'm just dropping names, but the important that I'm saying it here that most people who are actually implementing this and working on this are grassroots. They are actually women. And I will keep maybe speak later on the third point.
Okay, thank you very much, Asria. So next, can we maybe invite Cristina to give us some feedback about that, how you can engaging the faith woman of faith to work on this issue.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for...
You need to push that.
Yes, sorry. Thank you for the question, and thank you for sharing that. So the way, I mean, the refugee camps are complicated. So what I have seen while working in the World Food Programme is that they are promoting all these closed systems and circularity, and they have an office in Munich, I think it's in Munich, that is the innovation. And they are, and they have calls for proposals constantly, and that's a way to go. In other areas, and this is for refugee camps because they found all these kind of integrated aquaponics, etc. Now, what I have seen that it works after 5 years. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with the adaptive social protection initiative in the Sahel that has been funded by the World Bank, France, Germany, UK. It's a big trust. The conditions that were why this fund was much more effective than any other one is because the conditions were looking into women education, giving little micro insurance and little loans to women, but also they were covering family planning and everything that was related to their children. The only thing that we have not seen is these projects are amazing, right? So sometimes they have been starting with children from when they are little with UNICEF and WFP, and those children, they don't even realize that they have grown in that environment because they are normal. They study, they eat, and they are completely. It's another generation. The only thing is that we don't know why, but all those are huge funds. They don't go to the same community because if you put together kids growing in a normal environment and moms that are respected and they can provide for, then we have an example of an initiative that is working. But anyway, the bank is always happy to fund some of these, and they work after 5 years. One thing that I wanted to mention is that when we are looking into adaptation, something that is interesting is, I don't know, have you been in Valencia, any of you?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
In Valencia, there is a place they grow many fruits and vegetables. Like most of it's like the California, but in Spain. They even grow rice. So in Valencia, the irrigation system, it comes from the time of the Arabs in Spain. And there is, every Saturday, one person is giving you a little bit of water, a little to you, and you raise your hand and you tell them, I need to water my peaches, or I need to water my artichokes, or whatever. And there is this community way, but imagine, it's from the time of the of the Arabs in Spain. So this irrigation system is super efficient, is the most efficient in Spain and the most ancestral. There are ways, where I am going is that all the ways that were used in Morocco and in the Maghreb to irrigate, they are traditional. So this is something that when asking for the adaptation fund, it's important to include it. And everything that is related to the hydroponics or conservation agriculture and safe use of treated water is traditional. It's not something new. It's the same way of not using air conditioning. We don't use air conditioning because we don't need it up to one limit. I mean, there are limits of adaptation, and that time things will break. So the traditional knowledge is critical to maintain the areas. And for the floods, usually in Spain we have, from the times of the Arabs in that area in Valencia, spaces that if it rains a lot, there is a space that is there. It's a park, for example. It's a park. During the good days, it's just a big, huge park, beautiful with an, like this kind of shape. And when there is a flood, we let them go. I mean, the water goes there. It's filled for weeks, but after it will go down. So giving a space to the waters is a traditional knowledge, and is something to take in consideration. So this is what I have seen in those areas that could work to increase the value of the projects that are being looked for in the adaptation fund. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Indeed, to conserve water is so super important in the region because it sustains the growth of the plants. So next, we would like to invite Amel to share with us how can you engage local women in faith.
Thank you. Just picking up from what you said, the irrigation system is the same and managed by community leaders in the middle of the Sahara of Algeria. And is a desert, is a oasis, but it works because it is well managed. So that's just to add to your point. In this part, I want to tell you about all the countries and the ladies I connected with from the grassroots, from the MENA region. And just for preparing this one, we could connect with I think 6 countries, grassroots women who don't even sometimes know that there is a COP or a side event, and we spoke with them, and they are working for this climate and trying to change and developing resilience, methods and ways and strategies, but they don't know about it. I want to stress this point. When I talk about Algeria, and I will be bringing up some intervention, that what they said in the dialogue that we have been doing via Zoom and the virtual dialogue, talks. One of them from this place, from the middle of this desert of Algeria, in the ways she said, I wish that women are more appreciated for the effort they give, either in their family or in their society, especially for men to value their efforts and hard work in trying to satisfy everyone. These women she's talking about, I'll take one example and one case for developing resilience. Their ancestors, women used to make the rags, handmade rags from wool, and the wool comes from the sheep, and the sheep is fed from the food that is left over from the home, and the sheep lives in the home, and every home in this place called Ardea has got a sheep for the wool, for the food, then they don't waste it, and for Eid, for the big celebration, and the meat, and so on. So it's a cycle. The coloring of the rag and the wool, it comes from the spices, and they need to heat it to make it this color. So the process is very complex. It needs lots of heat, and it needs lots of manual work. However, because of the climate change, These women can't do the coloring and can't get the sheep because the sheep now is so hard to provide them and is seasonal, only spring they can buy them to get this rug. And so they need to adapt. They are working on the system that they don't use wool only when is ordered. They use synthetic that one factory on top of this town makes it. And the factory took over the whole thing now. When a woman finishes her rag, the rag would be sold outside to the shops and the market. But the woman cannot go out because of the society and the nature of the society. So she sends someone, that someone needs to negotiate. Usually the negotiation is not successful because he is already intermediate. So the best case scenario, she would get 1% profit. And that 1% she would, or 2 or 10, it depends. She would make her house look better, feed the kids, and buy some clothes and extra things for the kids. And the mother-in-law and the father-in-law are there, and they're supervising everything. So this society developed the system, and they came up with an idea, is microfinancing. So they made groups of women who take the process of banking to the home and meet these women who are not allowed to go out or negotiate, but still, they need more work, they need more funding, they need more sitting down, developing more ways, and different ways to generate more profit. That's one example of the resilience. In Yemen, forcibly displaced people who used to work in Saudi Arabia because of the problem now in the war, they were forced to leave, and the women found themselves from Saudi Arabia in Yemen, different products, different environment, and different situation. So this organization, they're trying to raise awareness and help them to reintegrate into their organization, grassroots organization. They are going to the camps and producing some data and trying to empower these women who are forced to sell their bodies and sometimes their organs to get some food. And they are helping them. This is the resilience they are doing, and this is the adaptation, but they don't know about it. And what we have, that's what they are doing. That's the maximum they could do. They are doing, though, without help, with minimal help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is really not easy at all. So next, I would like to ask, what do you think, what kind of opportunity or support you might need to have more impact as possible? May I ask first Dr. Tirado, how the whole world or society can give support to those MENA region?
Thank you for the question. I have covered a little bit of that in the previous question. So I think that what I am going to share is some of the outcomes of the IPCC chapter on health, which includes health, well-being, and changing community structures, which is basically forced displacement or, how do you call it, enlockment, that you cannot live. This is covered as well. And lockdown, yes, that you cannot live, and conflict. So it is something that we have been seeing that works, and there is a lot of interest from the World Bank, from the European Commission, and all the peace-building groups, the World Food Programme. Germany is one of the main donors for peace building, and it's called the Nexus Humanitarian Development and Peace. So it's another way of working. It's not giving food is not working. Everybody knows that. I don't know if you have seen these projects that are making half moons in the desert. Have you seen them? They advance with half moons in the desert. They regenerate the land, creating humidity, these little spaces for animals to pace or to grow some food. So they are advancing in the Sahel, and this is the greening of the Sahel that you may have here, with traditional knowledge, besides the green belt, which is the large effort that has been done and is being done on reforesting with natives, the Sahel. These half moons are beautiful. Yeah, if you give me your emails, if you are interested, I will send you the link to the videos. But these half moons are traditional knowledge, and they are bringing back a species of grass that were traditional. So those are, now we are measuring if these advances with water or with spaces to create food is creating social cohesion. Because if the bank and if these big groups promoting peace, they are funding this, it's very important. So in the chapter, you will see all this wording about, they call it environmental peace building, and they include working with the couples, as you were saying, taking care of the areas of the resources around, but also working with couples on gender equality and on issues related to family planning and preserving the natural environment for in a way that the degradation does not contribute to violence, and protecting these natural resources during conflict has been so to help for economic recovery. So this is what is there is much more interesting than any other projects that or initiatives that I have seen, because they provide ways for creating their own livelihoods. It does not work the same in all the places, but this initiative is in the Sahel. It's very interesting and is working. So one aspect that we see is that when women get together in cooperatives, they get much more empowered. And the families or the husbands, they don't get upset if they are in cooperatives. Because it's a cooperative that the important thing is that if you just produce the food, you don't make money. The money, you make it transforming the food, whatever. You know, canning or drying or creating a product that will give an extra money. And these cooperatives, usually the husbands and the families, they are not against that. So these cooperatives have been very useful, but working with the couple is even much more useful. So I leave it here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Cristina. So next, I would like to invite Asria. Can you share with us what kind of opportunity or you support or partnership you can see to enlarge the impact of the work?
I think it's often, and it's no secret, that those who are most impacted of the climate change are the one less visible. So I would start from giving place on the table, and that's thanks to your foundation and the organizer for giving this opportunity. I think Amel, she mentioned that, just saying some of people have actually no idea what COP26 or 27. It's just very abstract and strange terms for them. So when we also speak about the MENA region, it's so big, it's so diverse, and it has to be implemented different strategies for different people. And I will talk about displacement, and if you look at the finance for the climate, most of these people are excluded from it, like they don't have access for this finance. And for example, Cristina, you mentioned about different initiative or different funds, but these women, like the ones sitting in Palestine or in Syria or another place, they have no idea where to start. So one thing I would say as way forward or as opportunity, need more training for these women, need more access to the platform like this today. Yeah, and there is a very important thing, and you talk about the traditional way, you know? And one thing for me, and especially speaking about where I come from or the nomadic, we are the experts. It's not the way around. And it's very sad that the world is not really taking this in consideration. So I really invite the whole civil society in the MENA region to cooperate together, because people, the nomads, those who are following their camels, they are in a way monitoring the climate change. They can give opinion, and they can give, in a way, data that otherwise maybe researchers wouldn't get it in person.
Thank you, Asria. So next, I would like to invite Fatma. Fatma, are you still online?
Yes, I am here.
Hi.
Yes.
Nice to see you again. Yes.
Okay. We're gonna talk to manage the virtual tools very well to keep in contact, inshallah. I wanna to get just Allah. I wanna to get just back for just a minute to talk about the issues, the problems from gender perspective. Like the first problem that we suffer is the funding opportunity in a mono-economic empowerment way or approach for women in the Middle East and North Africa, especially in the access restricted areas. And this economic empowerment as a channel, as you know, for food security, but without men, without male engagement, which cause different kinds of misunderstanding from shifting the role between men and women, and different kinds of social, psychological, negative norms, some kinds of domestic violence, towards especially Muslim causes like shifting the role of securing food and take care, the hero of our society is to take care of the community or the families is the man. And when we shifting the role, or to illustrate more, women is stereotyped as a housekeeper, preparing homemade food, and this is burden her a lot. Work outside and inside. So we should find harmonized intersectionalities, solutions, or relations to solve the issue. Another problem that I want to stress about is regarding to biodiversity, and the anticipated roles for men in our culture is that the first principles I have mentioned. In contrast, women suffer from high level of care in Palestine. Because of occupation, we suffer from high level of murder instead men, because of occupation, which burden women a lot. So this is let women face different kinds of violations like harassment, exploitation, abuses, and no qualified spaces to put these women or these mothers, the children to take care. No qualified spaces for that. But I think from my point of view, from my experience to work as a GBV organization, activists in this role, if we focus on participatory approach and how to provide those women with the training, capacity, qualified, which very relevant to climate change, is to focus on green small enterprise. A small green enterprise, micro business, but it is couple-based or family-based economic empowerment to avoid the negatives resulted from the funds that we have mentioned before. So we are going to focus about the cost effectiveness and sufficient. This issue we have to take in consideration. We do not want to put money, and we serve a lot of money, a lot of funds about women to empower her to secure food without take in consideration the gender norms and gender perspective at the same time. And green small enterprise, when we focus on people, we notice that it is really effective. It's like comprehensive approach. The social and psychological status of women, of family, reach them to reach, help them to reach the well-being. So it is economic, it is related to climate change, it's secure food, and keep the harmonize in the sexuality relations between the family members. That's it, and thanks for your short listening.
Thank you, Fatma. So next, we would like to come back to Safaa on Skype. Safaa, can you hear us?
Yes, still there.
Hi again. Yeah. So our last question just is, what kind of support and partnership you think you can have that to enlarge the impact that the work you are working on?
Okay, like every process needs inputs, and the inputs contain man, machine, material, and method. For us, as we are working through artistic tools to raise the awareness for women and empowering women, I will give you a little example. We already recently conducted a workshop in Siwa, Oasis. This is in a very rural place, far away from the city of Alexandria. We conducted workshop for women on how they can use embroidery and traditional things. And during this session, we conducted awareness in very indirect way about gender, about health, about early marriage, about female genital mutilation. Okay, and for us, I think we are seeking for long-term networking and to strengthen our capacity building and to be able to conduct more activities and workshops using the artistic tools in order to raise the awareness for women, children about the climate change issue. That's in briefly, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we have a little time for questions. I don't know if anyone would like to ask from the floor. Yes, please. First, tell us your name, where you're from, and your question, please.
Yes, thank you. Is it working?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. My name is McAndrew from Sudan. I work for Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. I would like to gratitude for so good and very interesting session. I am impressed by it because in Sudan we have to finalize our food system transforming strategic plan, and we are of great need to your support and this platform to advise or to give us capacity building and awareness raising for our communities and women and local farmers and so on. Because this strategy contains 3 tracks, 5 tracks or action plans so as to be implemented. The main important one is the track 3, which is concerned with positive nature transforming for food security. And this track has many activities in concern what all has been discussed here by the presenter with so formative information. So I am asking about the support or the initiative that can give financial support or technical support to women or local communities or for us in Sudan as one of the MENA countries, and we also suffer very severe environment conditions in accordance to floods, droughts, because Sudan lies in about 70% of Sudan area is in the desert region. So we are of great need of this support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'd like to have some more questions from the floor, please. Yes.
Thank you, and thank you to the Tzu Chi Foundation for organizing what has been a very insightful debate, and I've learned a lot from your stories. Thank you for sharing. My name is David Garrihy. I come from World Animal Protection. We're a global animal protection charity working for global food system transformation. And my question is, we've seen all the really bad situations that women are being subjected to because of climate change. And I'm wondering, how can we help and guide these women to be agents of change in their country to combat the situation that they're facing through climate change, and to fight back and really change these systems that are exploiting them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we still have one question here.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Angela from the Ban Ki-moon Center in Vienna, and we have a climate adaptation portfolio where we particularly call for increased commitments for women and youth in Africa. So I'm very interested now, the 2 next COPs coming up within the regions, etc. How do you perceive the preparations now for Egypt and maybe even later UAE, as we already know? And which chances do you see at it, and what are the actions you maybe even take within your organizations to take out the best of these events for these topics? And agriculture, we have, I think, a very increased attention for in Egypt already, also around adaptation since Glasgow. So I'd be very interested in how you perceive that and what you do in your environment. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe can anyone maybe take question? Yeah.
I think the one on finance, I will just go to Cristina.
Yeah, that's my thoughts as well.
we want to know too. We want to know.
We're interested. If you allow us. Sorry.
Probably I am going to put my foot in my mouth. However, I would love to reply to you because I don't know the political situation between Sudan and USAID, but I know USAID has been funding. I know, but there are people there that are amazing, that are working with people, and they have been running these 5 years projects that were working with the community and with forestry and family planning and calculating the resources, and they did it in different countries, and that allowed for having a gender box in IPCC. In chapter 18, that it was a gender box that had all this information. That for to conclude or to have something, you need so many studies with the same results, and they were all positive. So it will be a question of thinking more. Thinking more. The Nordics, the Nordics. Denmark? Yes, no, because if I see you and I think that helps me. But I recall that last time that I was in Copenhagen, I was with the group of WFP and UN Women, and they were working together in Ethiopia, promoting a super integrated way of addressing, all the needs, like if it was social protection. So the Nordics are very good for this. Denmark, amazing. So we can talk more. Okay? Yeah. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment for your question, Sumaya, because your questions show the importance of this event, and I really hope that's one of the outcome of this meeting, that some organization would have the time or volunteer to make kind of, I don't know, fact sheet or something, like how do you find this information and spread it among the grassroots in North Africa and the MENA region. And it shows also what is lacked in the region, and it's finance. We don't know how to find it, and the lack of knowledge. And just jump to link it to yours. Maybe the next time when we're coming to Egypt, maybe your organization or group will organize something which will help these women to, I really don't know what is specific, but it could be, this is an invitation to organize something and maybe have in Sudan and other countries.
Thank you, Sumaya. I can't answer your question. We're trying. For your questions, the other ones, but then, Sumaya, as well, we're talking to grassroots women who are every day in the field, who are there, who know the earth and who know everything, more than maybe we think we know. We read it in the books, and that's when I was talking to the women, I was like, I know what's on Google, so forget about it, forget about the research. We want to talk to you. What's the problem? Because obviously it's not working. The climate is getting worse and worse. So yes, and we are helping. Being here, it wasn't easy. It was a big challenge. First of all, this is 1 year work. First of all, is finding these grassroots women who are in everyday challenge, like night and day. And to find them, it was a challenge because other people are taking the lead. And it is challenging for us as well. And we are extremely happy. Me and my colleague, Mariam, from the Faith and Food Coalition, we are just like, we can't believe it. These women, and we feel is like a letter, or they gave us responsibility to bring up their words here and to talk about it. Because when we said COP, and this is where we are going, this is where we tried to get you, they couldn't even say, wow, UN, and that's what it is. So, and I'm so really sad that Safaa and Fatma from Palestine and Safaa from Egypt, they couldn't come because of the visa issue. And because to get a visa from North Africa or from Middle East, it takes more than 5 months. It's not obvious. And that's one problem. And that's what we are trying to do with this dialogue, trying to empower or get them at least to be heard. In terms of future, COP27 and so on and more, we started with just talking to grassroots. And now we're thinking of regional dialogue. And then we're thinking of interfaith regional dialogue. Because a woman is a woman, first of all, is not a Muslim or Buddhist, or is a woman. And when we meet all together, we don't talk about religion. That's the last thing we talk about. But our values meet at some point. I mean, allow me to share this thought with you, which is, in Islam, Sayyidah Khadija, the wife of Mohamed ﷺ, she was the first person who could become Muslim and believe in him, and she challenged her whole community and society. In Christianity, Sayyidah Maryam, the mother of Jesus, she came out, and it was a big task, and so on and so forth. So if you want to make a change, you need to go to the woman and the mom. And in Egypt, this organization, which is Torraha, Safaa's organization, is, sorry, because the internet was not good, they said more things and more important things. Torraha, they are art theater organization that works in Egypt. And they started thinking, because of our regional dialogue, we started developing an idea of supporting young women and girls to become food security champions. And they go through art and theater around the community, not the schools, because it's so hard to get access to schools, and become a champion and food security leaders. And that's how we will try to change the thinking and the view towards food and climate, and using our values as wherever. Egypt, there are Muslims, there are Christian. Palestine, there are all religions. And Algeria, we have other religions. So that's how we are doing. And I hope we can succeed.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
No problem. So, Fatma, do you like to reflect to the questions just?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we until 15 of 18. So, how about, do you like to have some final remark?
Maybe one question quickly? No?
or just maybe the final remark, because I think after today's meeting, we do look forward to meet each other in Egypt. Hi, Fatma. Yes. I thought we achieved 50 of 80. So how about, do you like to have some final remark? Maybe one just quickly? Or just maybe the final remark, because I think after today's meeting, we do look forward to meeting each other in Egypt. Hi, Fatma. Yes.
Okay, hi.
While she's
hear you in a proper way. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Fatma, you can talk.
Could you notify us if you can hear me or not? I can't hear you, unfortunately.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our event today. And thank you so much to join us. And we do really appreciate we have this opportunity
So
to
you
able
can
to.
hear me now?
Yes, we are waiting for you.
Well, I can't hear you.
Okay, so we need to meet.
Okay,
so I think that's the end of our event today. And thank you so much to join us. And we do really appreciate we have this opportunity.
Challenges of IT, virtual. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I can't hear you.
Okay. So thank you all. And if you have some more questions, we can talk outside.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Please
much.
come forward. Yes.
And thank you so much to join us. And we do really appreciate we have this opportunity.
Challenges of IT,
Virtual. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all. And if you have some more questions, we can talk outside.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Please
much.
come forward. Yes.
And thank you so much to join us. And we do really appreciate we have this opportunity.
Thank you.
La mochila. Decir, oye, no os vayáis. Mañana lo que tenéis que hacer es ir al caucus de gender a las 9.
Thank you so much.